Finished row 2, which for me was just going straight across in pattern. I didn't have a buttonhole to do yet. So now I'm at row 3 of my armhole decrease. And again, I bind off 2 stitches and then finish off the pattern as normal. So to bind off, I'm just going to slip 1 stitch as if to purl, because I'm on the purl side. Then I purl and I pass that over. So that's bind off 1. Then I knit it and pass it over, and that's bind off 2. And now I just knit across the row as per normal. You go ahead and do that. I have finished row 3, indicated that on my really old row counter. Okay, so again, every time check your measurements to see when you need to start the buttonhole and then the neckline decrease. So I can tell now that I'm at 18 centimeters and it is time for me to do my last buttonhole. I don't know where you are at. You don't have to be at the same place, but just make sure you do your buttonhole at the point on your garment where the measurements indicate so in the drop pattern. So now what I'll do on my row, which happens to be row 4, this may not be your row 4 though. Your row 4 may be you're still knitting, or maybe you've already done your buttonhole and now you're starting your neckline decrease on your row 4. For me, I'm not. This happens to be my last buttonhole. And if you remember how to do the buttonhole, we start with a seed stitch, knit, purl, slip 1 over. This would be purl. I pass that slip stitch over to make the hole for the button, and then I knit, move my marker, and then I'm just going to knit until the end of the row, and that's my row 4. Finished my row 4. Now row 5 says bind off 1 stitch and then purl across, do your 5 seed stitches. So only 1 stitch gets bound off instead of 2. That's the change that happens. So we slip 1 and we purl the next one and slip that over, and we have bound off 1 stitch. And I'm going to knit across because for me on the other side I had started my buttonhole on the band, on the seed stitch band, and so of course I have to remember to do the last part of my buttonhole band. And so I just purl across. It's always exciting when you get to the end of end of a section. Excuse me, my yarn is caught over here. There we go. Don't have proper tension when the yarn is caught. There we go. Okay. And now to do the buttonhole, the last part of the last buttonhole. Yay! So I go in pattern, that's knit, purl, and then I have to make, just do that slow, you just make a loop, right, like that. And that would be the knit, and this would be the purl, and this would be the knit, and that is the last buttonhole, and that was row 5.